yes, and then all the other components start to rearrange themselves, meet me. So I think one thing that people can do is look at, well, how is that going to happen? Or how are all these other components going to cooperate with what it is that I choose? You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to think about that. You just have to stand firm in your yes. And that is your alignment, is your yes, your commitment to yes. And then another thing, it was funny because I see this all the time. Well, it wasn't meant to be. It didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be. Well, you decide if it is meant to be or not to be. There is no other force that is making that decision for you. And so some people give up on their dream, and it's really just about being strong. It's about being internally strong to your desire, being able to blaze through obstacles. You know, it was so funny. Last night I had so much source energy just coursing through me. And I had a couple more manifestations come in even while we were recording yesterday, which was cool. And they were showing me in Mario Brothers where, you know how you get the skip a step or skip a level thing where you can skip a level or you can skip a few, and it's like you can go into levels and you can almost ghost through the background of the level and beat King Koopa without him even knowing that you're there.
Yes.
And it was funny because I was like, that's exactly what's happening. And you can do that. And I think that something else that I wanted to mention too here as we're speaking to all of this, Jen and I have both built multiple 5- and 6-figure businesses by learning how to shift through all of our money challenges. We've built this from the ground up. And so it's really valuable to, if you're needing support too, and if you're listening now, ask questions, to seek support from somebody who has been through what you are going through so that they can support you in shifting to the other side of it. That's a whole nother topic that I don't fully want to get into, but I just want people to be aware that we're transmitting this information because we have walked the path. We have learned how to make these massive quantum leaps and to build these things through our direct personal experience. And there's so much value in that because you can then guide someone wherever they are, whatever it is that they are going through, whatever their next level of expansion is that they're trying to get to. You know the energetics and the dynamics of what is going on for that individual. And that is such a case-by-case situation scenario. So particularly around money, if you're seeking support, because my view is this: if you can work through your money stuff and you can learn how to create massive amounts of wealth for yourself or income, or you can learn how to build your wealth, duplicate your wealth, and you know how to do that consistently. Or where was I going with that? What was the beginning of that statement?
Well, just if you know how to do that consistently, if you know how to grow your wealth consistently, if you know how to keep that going consistently, and you're talking about how we've walked the path, basically, that's why we're speaking to this.
It was something around supporting other people to do. Okay. So thank you. If you can learn how to do that with money, you're going to blaze through all of your self-worth issues in every other single area of your life. Money and relationships, money and relationships, money and love. Those are the two main areas that people need, require, and seek the most support. So if you can master your money, then you will be a master in all the other areas of abundance in your life. And that's one of the reasons I get so turned on by money. And they're tying me back into it. When you're selecting your desire, make sure it's a desire that you are legitimately turned on by. Because once you master that, there's so much freedom opens up for you. So much possibility opens up for you. And even in the journey of learning how to master your energy in such a way that you can create wealth for yourself, there's so much power there. There's so much empowerment there. And you really, truly realize that you can create whatever it is that you want from a space of abundance. And I'm not just speaking to money when I speak to abundance. I'm talking about pure source energy flow and learning how to not only sustain your alignment, but expand your alignment and to shift fully out of lack consciousness, out of not enoughness, not, because it's so funny. I think sometimes the mind will say there is a limited or a finite amount of resources that are available. And we see this all the time when people get into politics and world affairs. We only have this many resources in order to support this many people. And if you think about, I mean, the nature of the universe itself, 99.9999% is made up of empty space, and the other 0.00001% is physical matter. So all of that physical matter is coming out of something, this formless, non-physical substance. So if you can align yourself to that free-flowing, non-physical substance, then you can generate more in the physical, more in the physical. And so it's understanding that there is no limit to the supply of that. It is an infinite supply, truly infinite. Yeah, there's plenty to go around. Oh.
Yeah, and that can be a thing, a hard thing to wrap your head around if you're always have been used to seeing, thinking in a lack mentality. And then when a lot of people start to wake up to their lack mentality, that it just kind of perpetuates it a little bit more, makes you go a little bit deeper, because you're clearing and you're awakening and you're understanding, but it almost magnifies that before you move on and evolve out of that. And that's why, I mean, I remember the days where I literally, I had nothing. It was like, can you take anything else away from me? I mean, in all areas of my life, just so drained, empty, like had all of that destruction energy clearing away everything for me, which was a blessing. But I remember times where I'd walk around and be like, okay, look at the tree. Look at the abundance of leaves on that tree. There are so many freaking leaves on that tree. I can't even stand it. Look how many clouds there are in the sky. Look how many cracks there are in the sidewalk. Just to get yourself in noticing there is no lack. There's no lack anywhere. It's all in your head.
Yeah. And something that's coming up for me too right now is remembering times when I have not only had nothing, but was at the whim of people who were taking advantage of the fact that I had nothing. And so for me, it was like this well of power and life force that came up from within me to go, you know what? Whatever I have to do, I'm going to do it to support myself, to advocate for myself, to create what it is that I desire for myself. I wanted freedom from feeling that kind of bondage. And I realized, okay, so I cycled myself into this situation. What is it going to require for me to get out? And it was power. It was a life force. And it was continuing to empower that vision for myself over and over and over. I literally had to be my own cheerleader. I had freaking sticky notes everywhere. I had notes in my calendar. I had notes on my desktop. I had notes on my pieces of paper, which I still do. And books that were torn at the seam, and I was writing in the seams of the books, and they were just filled with affirmations and everything that I needed to remind myself of who I was, what I was capable of, what I could create, what I had created before, what I needed to do to stay in that alignment. And that is an ongoing process for me. That is not something that I stop. Every single time that I expand into a new level of embodiment, there's a whole new set of revelations that come through, a whole new set of downloads, and I keep those at my side and I read them every single day. And it's not like a chore thing. It's just, there's key phrases and key statements that I need to remind myself of, and to get into the energy and the strength and the power of on a daily basis to stay expanded. Because you were speaking to earlier that people will select a desire and then they waver. So this is about staying empowered in the desire. So you've got to keep empowering that for yourself, the feeling of that, the expandedness of that, the frequency of that. And that's really where a lot of the work that comes in is, and the effort that comes in, because you've got to hold and expand that space out. Then you can't just, oh, I want this thing, and then go back into doing all the things that you were doing before. You've got to hold that energy.
Yep. And that's where your part comes in, basically. I mean, yes, you ask, you declare, you decide, and you receive, but your part is in doing whatever it takes for you to sustain that expanded form of energy, of staying in the feeling, of staying in the vibration. And this leads me into what Christine is asking. So Christine's asking, if you're in the space of having very little income in your current physical reality, but knowing energetically you'll receive a manifestation of like over 100K, and you want to invest in your biz currently, how do you go about that? I feel like I'm staying in a space of it is done, but reality and people in it are reminding me it's not there yet. The abundance isn't quite there yet now. And what I want to say to that is, remember, think of everything from the top down. Your physical reality is the last place things show up, because physical is dense. So you have that knowing, you have that energetic feeling, you see it, you're telepathically tuning into it, you're up here with it, knowing it's done, feeling it's done. You cannot let down here be a reflection of who and what and where you really are. This is not a grounded way of explaining it, but you're actually in the future right now. You're actually in the future currently. All of this down here is just catching up to that, catching up to that, catching up to that. And so that's why it is your job to stay grounded in that energy, because that's going to speed up your physical reality even faster, especially when your quite literal eyes are no longer glued on seeing the physical from the same perspective. So that's where people get into like seeing timelines shift right before their eyes and seeing walls move and all that cool, creepy fun stuff. It actually is very beneficial to play with that and enjoy that as a means to get you to unglue from the physical reality to let that shift come in. And so Christine and anybody else watching this, like, you, no matter what, you cannot let other people dictate who and what you are. You cannot look at their reaction as a reflection or a mirror anymore. It doesn't work like that anymore. So when you hear them say something and your heart clenches up, just take a moment to walk away, or in that moment, just send light to that area of your body, because that's what you're wanting. You're wanting the physical to catch up. So work with your physical body on this. When you feel the emotion, just breathe light into it. In your head, tell yourself whatever story you want. Like, oh, they're just so old school. They're never going to get how this actually works. Or, I get it. I understand. They don't believe that this could happen for them. So why would it be able to happen to me? I have compassion for that. Like, tell yourself whatever you need to detach from them in a really lighthearted, freedom sort of way. Because when you're attached to seeing their response as something you relate to, you're fighting against yourself, basically. And that was a tough learning experience for me as well. Or that's not really the right word. I guess that's something that I feel took me the longest to catch into, because I grew up in a very codependent nature of relating to people and relating to my world. So it took me a while to really unglue from that. So give yourself compassion. It's okay. Take your time. It's not going to make the money not show up just because you had a moment of relating to their reaction, but just understand their reaction is 100% a reflection of their level of consciousness of their reality. And what they're bringing me to now is pretend that everybody's walking around in the world with a box around their head. So what I see on the inside of my box is not what you see. Maybe mine's colored purple, maybe yours is pink. I don't know. I have no idea, because I'm not inside your box. I'm inside my box. So if somebody says something to me or reacts to me in a certain way, it's because that's the inside of their box that they're looking at and they're relating to. It has nothing to do with your reality. And play with that. Enjoy that. Don't feel like you have to force yourself to get that automatically, because that's going to make it easier for you. But when you start to do that, your relationships shift automatically. That was one of the first things that ever happened to me, was like my relationships just shifted automatically, because I no longer was going to take their reactions for face value or really give a shit anymore. I had to completely detach from even those people who you're supposed to care what they think about you. So this is learning love in a brand new way as well. So there's that aspect of it. The other aspect of it is so you're talking about like your physical environment is reminding you, well, and this is where you have to get silly. This is where you have to get just like almost like you're high on something, basically. Just I'm so glad that I'm seeing this reality for the last time. I'm so glad that this is not how I live anymore. I'm so glad that I'm not gonna have to do this in another week. I'm so glad, like, anything to get you out of thinking that it's stuck, that it's in place, that it's rigid, that it's dense, because it's not. It's totally fluid. You gotta swim through it. You gotta look at these reminders as something that means something different. So like, I'm just trying to think of a practical example here. When I was okay, so there was a point in my business where I ended up going out and getting a job, just to kind of support myself while I got grounded in where I was going. So I went out and it was doing something I love. It wasn't something it wasn't something shitty that I absolutely hated, but my ego was very much like, oh my God, I can't believe you're going out to get another part-time job. You're a failure, blah, 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 blah. You said you'd never do this again. But I looked at that job every single day as a sign that I'm receiving more abundance. I'm taking the pressure off myself so I can move into a different reality. I know I'm not going to be here very long. My intuition was telling me to do it for so long, and I knew when I did it, I would make a giant leap. So when I did it, instead of looking every day at like, okay, where's the shift? Where's the money showing up? I looked at it as like, ooh, I'm so excited because I'm not going to be here that much longer. And it's great that I get to get away from my computer several times a day and learn some new things and meet some new people. And I was always showing myself the reasons outside of finances why I put myself there. Like, it helped me speak about what I do and the knowledge that I have in a more confident way to people who I thought would react negatively. It helped me wipe some debt away that had been hanging over my head that was keeping me in a lack mentality. So basically what I'm trying to say is just give everything a different meaning and give it a meaning that shows you how you're no longer in that reality, even though physically you're still experiencing it, or that reality is collapsing, it's going away. It's like it's like the end of school. Like, it's the end of the school year. There's one more week. You kind of have that feeling of excitement, but a little bit of sadness. It's kind of tender, and you know you're going to be saying goodbye to that whole routine and going off to summer. And so it's that sort of a feeling of like, yeah, I might as well enjoy you, but I know this is leaving pretty soon, and it has nothing to do with, it's not stopping me. It's not stopping anything. And that's what everything moving that much faster.
Commit to yourself, too, is what they're saying. Powerfully commit to yourself and decide what it is that you want and what you're going to create. And yes, there may be some logistical things that you have to handle that come up along the way. But literally handle those things and then put your damn blinders on and don't give those outside sources any more of your attention. Be aware of them, handle them to the best of your capacity, and then forget that they exist. Literally, from your point of addressing them, it's almost your capacity to then, at that point, once you've addressed all of that, you take that big future vision that you have, because for her, it actually is still in the future. And I get that that's why it keeps being put off and put off and put off, because she's seeing it in the future. So you literally want to take that and you want to pull that into your body, into your now moment, and live in that already being so. And this is where that power and that electricity starts to come through, because there is no other option. There is no other, you're not seeing anything else. You're living in the having of that thing. And that's critical. That's a critical piece, because if it's in the future, it's going to stay out there somewhere, but you've got to be in it now. And so it's almost like playing pretend in a really powerful way. You are acting and living to your highest capacity as though that is the reality that you're experiencing now. So you stop paying attention to everything else. You don't pay attention to the current reality in as much as your energy is concerned. So you're not living at the energy of what you see currently. You're living at the energy of having what it is that you are invoking in your life. And then everything else will start to align and orchestrate and match up to that. But yeah, I mean, you've got to almost ignore where you're currently at. And I don't mean be ignorant of it or unaware of it. Be aware of it, but don't place your focus on it. Place your focus on having what you want.
Right.
And so it's almost like living. It's interesting because it's incredibly anchored and incredibly grounded in the present moment. But at the same time, it's some future vision that you are embodying now. You're embodying the frequency of. You're taking the action steps that you would take if that thing were fully manifested in your life. And you're not waiting for it to come to take those action steps. You're ready. You're prepared. As though it is already there with you. What would you do? What would you buy? Where would you go? What experiences would you have? Start lining all of that up. Plan it like you expect it to show up in any moment. Expect increase. Every single day when you wake up, expect increase. And it doesn't matter where it comes from or how it shows up. Just get into the habit of expecting that. And if other things show up in the interim, like these people that you're talking about who are reminding you of the reality that you're in, address that, handle it, and get back into the energy of having it. Don't let it deter you. Don't let it throw you off course or off track. And truly, as much as you believe in yourself and you empower yourself, is whatever your capacity to do that is your capacity to create. So there's not anything that you cannot create. You can create exactly what it is that you want to experience, but you've got to stand in the conviction of having that thing. Because for me, I know I've had my business open for about 3 years now, and there have been, there were one or two distinct points where I thought to myself, I may need to get a job right now to help me shift and transition. And then I was like, no, I promised myself the day that I went into this business that I was never going to do that again. And so I mustered up the strength and the courage and the willingness and the desire and the power to do what I needed to do to create what I wanted to create. And everybody here has that capacity to do that and the ability to do that. So it's about finding that within yourself, that determination, that will, and not wavering on it, not backing down, going for what you want, advocating for yourself, believing in yourself, trusting yourself to whatever it is that you want to create. And that's so unique to your individual experience, what you feel is right and true and most helpful and aligned for you at any given point in time. Because for some people, it is incredibly helpful and relieving and energetically supportive to go and get a job during some of those transition points. So it depends on who you are, but whatever it is that you want, ground into the energy of that.
Yeah, and kind of what's also coming up for me, what I'd like to speak on, is removing any, and I'm not saying go into the blocks, removing any rules or impediments you have in letting your energy flow in that really like turned on, risque, kind of ballsy, like fuck it, this is what I'm gonna say, this is what I'm gonna believe, this is what I'm gonna do, that sort of vibration. And a lot of that does relate to sexuality and intimacy and all of that. So tune into that, because if you're not feeling fully free and explorative and liberated in that area, it definitely is directly related to your finances, in the fact that it's the same vibration. So if you're uncomfortable or you're afraid to let yourself be in that vibration, look at why and just let it go. Just let it go naturally. Do, and this is where almost just lying with yourself and feeling energy works wonders. I'm not going to say sitting in meditation, because that usually that's not exactly what I'm talking about. And really just speaking to, like, just lay down in your bed, put your hands on your belly, put your hands on your heart, put your hands on your hips, put your hands on your thighs, put your hands on your throat. And just start to feel that energy moving. Start to feel your natural vibration. Start to feel that, and then get yourself to manipulate it. Get yourself to push it out. How would that vibration be feeling through my body if I was in that really liberated, risque, turned on, like, I'm owning my shit, I rule the world kind of a way? Like, how would that be flowing through my legs, my hips, my knees, my back, my throat, my head? Like, feel it, because there's, when I'm tuning into a sense of a lot of you who are just naturally have probably some sort of muscle memory that doesn't let that flow of energy and that flow of vibration. And I want to do a video on this. I'm going to do it sometime, but I feel like this is totally on. It sounds like it's off topic, but it's on point. But bad boy is your best friend. Like, you would be so surprised how much you can just manifest by releasing those knots and those tight areas and those parts of your body. I mean, think about the root and the sacral chakra. Think about where a lot of people have physical ailments or a lot of tension. It's in their hips, it's in their pelvis, it's in their sacrum, it's in their lower back, it's in their bellies, it's in their womb, it's in their reproductive system, it's in their sexual organs, it's in all of that. And if you move that energy through, if you start to shake it up and stir it up, a lot of this will actually shift for you. And this goes into what we're talking about on how you don't have to go into the emotional and mental blocks anymore. You just have to release the physical impediments of the energy flow to shift the physical reality for yourself.
Yeah, and they're saying be a boss and show up for yourself. Show up for yourself. What do you need to do to create the life of your dreams? What do you need to do to support your desires? And when you were talking about the energy flow, so something I'll do sometimes is I'll just get that really electric, turned on energy coursing through my body, and I'll just flow that energy through my body. It's almost like being a circuit, and I just course it through and course it through and course it through, and I let it just flow until it's ready to stop flowing in such a powerful way. But sometimes, last night, for instance, I went to bed, I think around 1 o'clock, and for 2 hours, I was just coursing that energy, and so many revelations were coming through, so many insights, so much expansion, so much just thanks for all the things that are aligning in my experience and your experience. And I was just coursing that through, and I was just like, yes, yes, yes. And I was letting that energy flow through me, while in my mind, I was just reeling over all the abundance and the gifts and the beauty. And so when that energy is flowing too, well, that's what I thought of when you were saying to just lay down and let the energy flow, because that's what it's like. It's just coursing it through. And some people will, in Tantra too, speak to using the power of your orgasm, and even right before you climax, cycling that energy through your body and continuing to do that, because your sexual energy is your creative energy. It is creative source energy. It's what produces life. So if you can tap into that energy within yourself, that is That's your source energy flow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why we always say, find what turns you on, what exhilarates you, what is your next edge, because that is that frequency.
Mm-hmm.
That's when stuff starts to show up really fast. Oh, that's where you get to skip some levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And let yourself be turned on by new things. Let yourself be turned on by new and exciting and bigger and more expansive things. Too many people are stuck in a rut with what turns them on in all ways of that meaning. So that's also coming through.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Get into that scorpionic energy.
Yeah.
Get into what's taboo, a little bit edgy. Go to places that you haven't gone before. Actually, that's probably where your most powerful integration is going to happen, where you're going to bump into your power. You're not going to bump into it. You're going to integrate it, and you're going to loose it.
Yeah.
All that free energy that's trapped up inside of your body and your organs, like Jen was just speaking to, the moment that you let yourself go where it is that you truly want to go without limitations, hesitations, doubts, worries, concerns about external judgment, and you don't resist what it is that you want, and you start going to those edges, whole new worlds will open up for you. Whole new worlds. If you want to manifest in a powerful way, you have got to find your edge, and you've got to keep finding your edge over and over and over again. That's the rush of life that everybody's looking for. That's the high that everybody's truly looking for. And so what I'm getting with a lot of people who are tuned in right now around manifestation, it's almost an energy of, it's overly soft and overly sentimental is what I want to say. And it ends up knocking them back. So and that's what I mean by be a boss, like what makes you feel sexy and bold and alive. Go there with yourself. Let yourself inhabit those parts of you. Because if you're timid, so that's what it is. That's the energy that I want to speak to, is that timidity. Like, ooh, I want this thing. And it's almost like, is it okay to want this thing? Or is reality really going to give me this thing? And there's like a dance then that happens between like, yes, no. And that's what holds it at bay, is that indecision, that uncertainty. And the minute you decide, everything starts to line up and reorganize itself to meet you at your yes. Every time you waver, it's kind of like the grid work. It's like, okay, well, what instructions, which ones do you want us to give you? Which set of code, which set of instructions do you want us to follow? So, be a badass and command your reality.
Right.
And stay. And that's the key, is you've got to stay in that energy then. You can't you've got to stay there.
Right. Yeah, you're grounding in a new blueprint, quite literally. And you have to let that, if you can visualize with me, there's like a blueprint. You got a blueprint, you've got a matrix, you've got these like graph bars and codes and lines and stuff on top of your head, and you're like, okay, I want the 100K tomorrow. Grounding that in. And it's just like, coming down, stop. Solar plexus. This is where it's important to work with the lower half of your body and those lower chakras and that energy that we're speaking to, because this, where most people get stuck. You have no problem visualizing or dreaming, clearing up out here, admitting it to yourself or expressing it. We can feel the heartbeat. We can feel the excitement. We can feel the adrenaline coursing through our veins. We're admitting this big risky thing we want, and then boom, it stops. It stops at our powerhouse. You have to be in your power with it. You can't say that and then open your eyes and then look around and be like, shit, I don't know. And yesterday and the day before and that person and this thing, I don't know, right? And that's where everything just gets stuck and stays stagnant. And then you're like, well, is it an alignment for me? Am I really supposed to? Blah, blah. That's your power. Just be in your power. Just do it. Just do it. We give you permission to do it. Just be in your power. It's as if Superman always was Superman, but he needed permission to be Superman. And it's like that. You have to, it's literally a grounding it into your into your experience, into your physical body. And for those of you who are in that really timid energy or don't like to take risks or aren't familiar with being in this state of being, or maybe this is not how you've always manifested. Maybe the timidity did work for you for quite some time. Well, everything's shifting and changing. We're needing your vibrancy, your resiliency, that surge of source power, energy moving through you. And so I'm called to say, do a little bit of homework and show yourself where you do already take risks every single day. Like, the example they were giving me is the first time you've ever stepped foot into a gym and you picked up a weight. Well, that was taking a risk right there, picking up that weight. What if it was too heavy for you? What if you didn't know how to lift it properly? Like, that's a risk that you took, but you trusted yourself enough just to try it out. Or the first time you dove off of the high dive or jumped off a cliff or did a hike or drove. I mean, that was a risk that you took and you were willing to take. And I'm sure you could give 1,000,001 reasons on why it was okay. Well, give yourself 1,000,001 reasons why it's okay to ground in this next level of expansion in what you're wanting to manifest or create.
Well, that's why we do so much work around the galactic and the supernatural too, because what they're saying right now is everything is a myth, and we know this by now. We know it's a story. We know it's a myth. So they're asking, what character do you want to play? What badass do you want to embody? Which part of yourself do you want to bring to the forefront? And that's almost the energy that it requires to manifest at those expanded levels. And so, like you're saying, to invite people to do their homework and look at where they have taken risks before, or where you faced challenges before and you were forced to find your power, you were forced to turn into your strength. So what they're wanting to say now too is don't make the external catalyze you into motion, into that space. Choose it, select it, stay there, embody it. Because life will catalyze you to that place if you don't select it for yourself. And that's when, your unconscious will catalyze you into that space. Your expanded self will catalyze you into that space. But if you're consciously selecting it for yourself, it doesn't need to show up in that same way anymore. There was something else coming through. If you have anything, you can keep going because it might take me a minute to pull it up.
Just the other thing, I wanted to mention this yesterday, but this is where, so in the interim, have fun. You said this, like, have fun playing with little things, littler manifestations or things that don't seem so big. And even with the really big thing, when you're spending time and your energy really calling that into your reality, the more specific and detailed and just ridiculous you get about it, the absolutely more likely it is to happen that much faster. I can't tell you. I mean, I remember my very, very, very first client in this business, the day before, and I had been in such doubt and such lack of trust and just, going through all of that, the dark night of the soul, blah, 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 all of it. And I just was like, okay, F it. She's going to have blonde hair. She's going to be this age. She's going to live on the East Coast. We're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. These are the things she's going to want to change. This is how many family members she has. This is the last vacation she took. Like, just stuff that I'm like, I don't even know why I'm writing this. I really could care less, honestly, but fuck it. I'll play the game, right? And that's exactly what showed up. It freaked me out because I didn't care.
Yeah.
Do you think I care about any of that? Not really, no. But I gave the universe super specific, defined, clear directions on what I wanted and what I was looking for. It's like saying, it's like going into a chocolate store and saying, well, yeah, I just like chocolate. Well, do you want a truffle? Do you like dark? Do you like Peruvian? Do you want cacao? Do you like milk? by the way. What? It melted? Is it an ice cream form? How much? What color? How old? I mean,
all of that, please. That's my order. I'm like, all of that. Oh man, that's how stuff goes down over here. I'm like, I will take a little bit of this and that and that and that.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
You're saying it's all a game anyways. Have fun, play how you want to play, ask for what you want to ask for. And when you start to realize that you can be that specific, that's where your belief systems start to get shook up, because you're like, what the hell is going on here? I really can create whatever I want exactly how I want to. And they're saying too, so the patience game and the waiting game, huge myths. Oh, well, I just have to be patient. Well, you're making yourself wait in that case. So here's what I want to say to that. Yes, there's going to be a time lapse, because we are in a time-space reality between non-physical substance and physical substance. So there's going to be that translation. The space of translation is what I want to call it. But you don't have to be in the energy of waiting or, oh, I just have to be patient. The more you empower yourself being in the reality now, the faster it is, the faster it comes to you. So if you're playing that waiting game and that patience game, I invite you to step it up and step more into your power and more into your strength and command your reality and live in the having of it right now and stay there. Because a lot of people will do that where, oh, it just wasn't meant to be, or I need to be really patient, or I need to wait for A, B, C, and D to happen before I can have my manifestation. Not true. Everything is created from that non-physical. Like you said, you can get as specific as you want about what it is that you want. And there's plenty of that non-physical substance to create from. So why would you ever have to be patient or wait? And so I'm not saying that there's not going to be that translation that happens through time and space, but you don't have to put yourself in a position of waiting.
No, and you can be aware. You can be aware of how the energy is moving. And this is where it comes from, ungluing your eyes from your current reality and basically just kind of ignoring it, so to speak, because that's going to keep you so focused on the momentum that you're creating. That's going to keep you focused and seeing the energy moving, the gap collapsing, however you want to put it, so you don't feel like you're just sitting around aimlessly waiting at this energy that you have no control over. You have absolute control over all of it. And if you feel that you have been waiting or you have to be patient, I call you to ask yourself, am I really willing to allow myself to have that experience? Because in the waiting, the only thing that's happening is everything that you have holding in place, you have holding yourself in place to not have that or to not allow that is just being magnified. So it'll come up to the surface and you'll just go, shoot, 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 get away, get away, get away. Don't go into the block. Don't go into fighting it and feeling like you have to heal it and blah, 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 blah. Become aware of it, move the energy, shift the energy. And this is, I mean, there's a lot of refined techniques that both Solara and I utilize, either the same ones or different ones that we'll be teaching in the inner circle. But all it is just moving the energy, playing with the energy, doing whatever you can to just break up that energy, whatever visualization, whatever feeling that gets you to just like pave the way, keep it open. Because if there's like an energetic wall here, well, the thing you want is right here. And it's like, knock, knock, knock. Hello, is anybody home? You called me. I'm here. Like, open the door. Still just holding this like, where is it? Where is it? I'm waiting. I'm tired of waiting. Nah, 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 nah. And you just gotta move that energy. Maybe that comes with some screams or some tears or some writing it out or this or that or whatever. Doesn't matter. Don't judge it. Let it flow. And that's gonna speed everything up for you.
And they're saying too to shift from waiting into expecting. And so if you even think of the word momentum, it implies speed. And if you want to manifest quick, you've got to have speed. You've got to have the momentum of the energy moving and flowing. And I think that there's a lack of full awareness around that when it comes to the creation process, because we're given conflicting messages sometimes around how the masculine and the feminine energy behaves. So the key is to stay in motion, to stay in momentum. And if you're not in, if you feel like you're not in a space where you have the strength to maintain that momentum yet, then what you'll need to do is go into absolute silence and absolute stillness so that you can recharge yourself. But then the key is to stay charged and to stay in momentum and to keep picking up momentum and increasing momentum towards the direction of that which you choose. And so they're showing me too, like, you know, momentum. So you get a ball rolling down a hill, it's going fast, it's going in a very specific direction. So select your direction too, that is key. This is something that I see all the time, and this comes up in relationships too, where the energy is so fragmented that you're not able to manifest any one specific thing that you want because you don't know what you want. Your energy is going out in all these different directions. And so how can you pick up legitimate momentum in any one clear, solid, focused direction if your energy is split off into all these different pathways? So this is where getting laser focused and crystal clear is fundamental to creating the momentum that you want. And all these other things are going to fill in around that too. So I don't want you to think that if you're focusing on one thing that you know that you can create momentum in your energy by focusing in that direction, all these other things that you want are going to show up anyways. They're going to show up too. But find that thing that exhilarates you the most and that turns you on the most, and you point your focus in that direction. All the other stuff will start to show up as well. But when you're in a million different directions and you don't have any momentum going anywhere, then you're going to perpetuate that state, and you're going to perpetuate it and perpetuate it. And that's where people are like, oh, I'm just going to be patient and I'm just going to wait. And it's like, well, what you do learn in that space is how to focus your energy.
Yeah, I'm being reminded of when my partner and I first started dating, and this is back when we met right after I was 21, almost, basically. So I wasn't attuned to any of this, right? And I remember he would frustrate me so much because there were certain things he'd do, and he would say, I'm teaching you, like, I'm going to teach you patience. You need to learn how to be patient, right? And I hate being patient. My mom has always told me that. My whole family, I hate it. I'm like, why is everybody slowing me down? I want what I want. I want it right now. And so what I'm being shown there is just to witness the fact that if someone or something is telling you you need to be patient, you're literally just giving your power away to them. You're literally, it's like you're letting them rule over you, or the thing is ruling over you, like, you must be patient. It's like, okay, I'll be patient, I'll be obedient, right? No, don't play like that anymore. I will not be patient. When you're feeling like you have to be patient, that's when you really need to step it up into that fiery, expanded, demanding, powerful, raw energy. That's the shift that you're looking for.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that forward. I mean, I remember in my relationships too, I got to that point where I was like, what the fuck am I waiting for? And I asked myself, what am I actually waiting for? Why am I waiting to go out and get what I want? Why am I waiting to create what I want? Why am I waiting for this other person to pick up the pace and take action? You know, why am I waiting? And then I realized I don't actually want to wait. And so I don't need to. So it's just a choice, making that choice for yourself and having fun, you know, having fun in your experience, in your reality, while that thing is translating from non-physical to physical. But you're not focused on that. You're not sitting around waiting for the thing to show up. You're doing other stuff. You're having fun. You're creating. You're expressing. You're sharing. You're still in motion. But you're not sitting around waiting. And a lot of people stay in that space. I can just feel it right now, where it's like it's a mix of timidity and waiting. And there's a lot of vulnerability to around being that powerful, around allowing yourself to be that powerful and to command what you want, because you don't really know yet that you can command what you want until you start stepping into that and practicing it and having fun with it and letting yourself go there and recognizing that you are unconditionally loved in the full expression of your power and your truth.
Right.
Because a lot of people still feel like they're being judged, or like it's not safe to be that powerful and that big and that bold and that expanded and that lit up and that turned on and that fiery and that fierce and that superhero.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So good.
So good. So good. I have a feeling we're just going to be keeping on with this for quite a while.
It's so good. Man. Yeah. And every single day of your life, when you wake up, just expect more goodness. And I mean, like, really look for it. Just start looking for it everywhere. Like, oh, there's a butterfly. Oh, there's some money that came into my bank account. Oh, like whatever it is, just look for increase everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's going to be increase today. I can't wait to see how increase comes.
Yep. And for some of you, going back to people and their reactions, this is going to annoy the shit out of you. Hate it. Like, why are you so happy-go-lucky all of a sudden? Why are you so positive all of a sudden? Why are you excited over that little thing all of a sudden? Like, who is this? Like, ugh, right? Because you're inevitably making their energy shift and ruffling their feathers. And their human doesn't like it because they're not in control of it, but they haven't been in control of their whole experience this whole time. And you're finally walking around being in control of your experience. This helps, at least for me, it can help me be in that turned on energy even more. Like when I'm so stirring the pot with this person, aren't I? Like they're just hating this right now. I mean, that's kind of my shadowy side, but that keeps me in that turned on energy and keeps me detached from their experience and their reactions.
Yeah, no, I agree with that 100%. That's like the loving antagonist in me does that sometimes too. It's like it's a game almost, I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It is, and it stays that way. So making it as fun and pleasurable as possible. And you'll get all kinds of reactions.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I started shifting out of a space of people pleasing because I was so freaking used to being liked and loved and gravitated towards, because I was always kind of like that nurturing mother, welcoming, compassionate, soft, open, allowing energy. And when I really started to embody myself fully and embody my power and embody my darkness and all the different elements of me, the responses that I was receiving were there's so much contrast in them. It was either like a hell yes or a hell no, or we don't even know what to do with that. What are you? Sometimes I've gotten that response, like not who are you, but what are you? And it was fun. And I just kind of got used to being in that space. And I still dance around with that because I still get, well, not too often, but every here and again, a reflection in my reality that will just go, are you still going to fully embody yourself? Are you still going to stand in your power? Are you still going to stand for yourself? Are you still going to be bold and brazen and raw and gutsy? And every time it's just like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Oh, and it's fun. It's fun to play in that space and to help calibrate other people to that space too, because that's exactly what's happening. The people who don't like it the most are the ones who are being calibrated to their next level of expansion. Because what you'll realize too is that energy is sharp and it is penetrating and is illuminating. And people are fully seen in your presence, for better or for worse. And people have all kinds of different responses to that. They can really love it and appreciate it and value it. And some other people are just like, no, get it away. I don't really want to be fully seen. So it's interesting. You're going to get all kinds of different responses. But the key is to stay sovereign and aligned and empowered and true to you in what it is that you are creating. I mean, of course, obviously, be cognizant and aware and respectful and considerate of other people, but don't allow their response to dictate your energy and your alignment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the most powerful pieces to the puzzle.
Uh-huh. And another thing too that they're saying is don't take any of it too seriously. We're infinite beings. Like, expand your perception out to that. This is a game. We're here to have fun. Press your edges, press beyond your limits. See, see if you can just press a little bit farther, expand a little bit farther, take a little bit more risk. See what you can do, what you're capable of. Have fun.
Mm-hmm.
You have nothing to lose. Oh, you really don't. Yeah, let it be light. Don't take it all so serious. Don't make it all so heavy. Don't make it all mean life or death. And even in some cases, and I've been in those true life or death situations, where I had to jump, right? I had to jump across the precipice. I actually had to choose death in certain situations, right? Or what would be a perceivable death, in order for that expansion to occur. Let yourself go there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 You're safe. You're supported. It's what your spirit is calling for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. It's almost like I get this image of walking into and walking away from certain things with guns blazing. It's almost like you there's like a line of fire behind you, and you're just
Yes.
and you're like, I'm gonna fucking do what I came here to do. I'm gonna be what I came here to be. I'm gonna show up for myself fully.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a fuck it that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna express myself. I'm gonna create what I want. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
End of story.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Full speed ahead. Full speed ahead with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. They're saying be a renegade.
Yeah. Be a renegade. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I love that. I love that.
Mm.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I think we should cut it off there. That's a really good stopping point for people to end on.
Mm-hmm.
Really powerful. And also my internet is just so spotty, so I don't want to and like none of this have recorded or people not be able to see this.
Uh-huh.
It should be okay, but yeah. So I'm just gonna say really quick. I put it out there already. I'm sure you did too, but we will not be on tomorrow, unfortunately, but thankfully for Solara and everyone else understanding, I'm going to be moving all day. So just totally not in the space to hold space for this. But we'll be back next Tuesday. We're going to start coming on Tuesday through Friday, and we have some exciting guest speakers, if you will, that are going to come on and join us. So we'll announce that. And we are coming up close to the inner circle starting in a few weeks, which Solara and I are going to be talking to you guys more and more about that on, we've really given you the expanded version, but we're going to be getting more into the specifics on what that actually looks like for you. What is that journey going to be like? What are we actually going to be taking you through and specifically helping you expand on? So we'll be sharing more about that. But in the meantime, we'll put the links in below. Check it out if you're called, if you're interested. Schedule some one-on-one time with either one of us, or just go ahead and save your spot. We have some spots open still. We'd love to have you. Yeah.
Oh God, I can't wait.
Me too. I'm so excited.
Oh, I know. It's coming up so soon. I can't freaking wait. What a perfect way to, well, I mean, God, it starts the day after Halloween. Hey.
I know. I love Halloween. Oh my God. And we're totally going to be playing with that energy.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to be playing with. Oh, it's so exciting. Yeah, and we're going to really be grounding into the results that we're going to help you guys to create too. So, oh, yeah, it's going to be good. I can't wait to get into detail about that with you all. And we're going to drop some links in the comments so that you know where to connect to us and to learn more about the inner circle. So expect to see more about it over the next 2 weeks on our pages and our feeds. in our newsletters. We love you guys so, so, so much. If you're feeling called in any way, reach out to either one of us or check out the links below. We will connect with you guys on next Tuesday. Jen, we are all sending you so much love for a smooth move and transition. I can't wait for you to get all settled in your new space. It's going to feel so good.
Yes. Oh, it's going to feel so good. Yeah.
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 Until next time, go bold, be big, ask big. We love you so much, guys. Thank you for your support.
Love you all so, so much. Go be a money-making renegade.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.